flash forward, I go and do The Simpsons, and it's too hard to explain, but all these crazy things happen. It's really the equivalent of me being in a cornfield and getting hit by a meteor, but all these things happen where suddenly they say, hey, you're gonna replace David Letterman, the guy you idolize, who I said many times cannot be replaced. I said it's impossible to replace him, so I pity the guy who replaces him. I'm on record saying that.
And I was salivating to replace him.
Yeah.
We had totally different dreams because he was hired to produce this show.
Yeah.
But his dream was not that. Like you say, you did Happy, Happy, Good Show, and you were always the funniest guy in the room at SNL. And I was more like, broody Tom Jonovich, just brooding writer.
Right.
But my dream was my hero was like Sylvester Pat Weaver, the guy who created the Today Show and the Tonight Show. I think
that's the saddest thing I've ever heard anybody say.
I was a pathetic nerd. Blair understands.
Did you have a big poster of Pat Weaver?
I do understand.
He understands. No, I would go to the Museum of Broadcasting or whatever, radio and television, and revel in these old, like Dave Garroway talking to a chimp on the Today Show in the 50s. And
no, you were ready to, but what was interesting is, so they said to me, okay, you're going to do this. And I said it then, I say it now. I said, I can do this if I do it with Robert.
Yeah.
I said, I can do this if I do it with Robert Smigel, but I can't do it if it's not with Robert Smigel. And
I don't think I ever heard that. I know you told me you wanted me to do it.
I know. I didn't tell you I wanted you to do it. I said you have to do it. And then I remembered there was stuff about, Robert's contract, we're not sure. And I was...
Oh, Lauren just didn't want me to leave.
No, I know. But I was yelling at NBC, give him take stuff from me and give it to, we have to do this together, because I knew then I had a shot. And
that's very nice.
And it's true. And we don't get self-conscious because I'm complimenting you. Take the paper away. That's my job. But anyway, and then immediately we had very little time to put the show together. I mean, it stuns me now that I think by the time I was done doing the affiliates dance and everything, I think it was June, and the show had to be on the air in September 13th of 1993. It's June, and there's just a big empty space where Dave's studio was, and we had no writers, we had nothing.
Right.
But I knew Robert and I will go, and we worked we didn't sleep. We worked like crazy all summer long.
It was the best. It was my dream job, and I was working with you. It was just like the best guy I could work with. And I have to confess, when he first told me, and you know this, you remember the conversation, I'm sure. When you first told me Lauren wants me to audition, there was a part of me that was like scared.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, guess what? Me too. But I'll remember this very clearly. You were like, "Gee, I don't know," because it's
hard. That's a hard way to break into show business. That's what I said.
If you, it's going to be hard for anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, the only person it wouldn't have been hard for is, I think, Gary Shandling. Gary Shandling was a name they were banking on, and if he had done it, it would have been absolutely brilliant from day one. Of course, because he's Gary Shandling. But everyone else would have taken some knocks for not being Dave.
Right.
But I was going to take a lot of knocks because complete unknown and no experience. And I remember so clearly, I remember where I was. I was living in this little apartment on Weatherly. And I had in this tiny little nook, I had a phone and a phone machine back when you had a phone machine. And I'm talking to you and you're sort of saying, they're thinking maybe I should audition because they're looking for the right person. And Lauren said, he's got a look and maybe, and Conan's funny. He's a look and he's very polite and he's got the hair and the funny first name and maybe that's a thing. And so,
and he'll be cheap.
And trust me, you'll get him for nothing. And so
my salary, non-negotiable. And just because I'm saying you're going to save money on him, not me.
So I remember talking to you, and you were rightly.
I was shumbly.
You were shumbly. You were saying, "Yeah, I don't know." And then in the background, I heard like a Charlie Brown parent voice go, "Mom, mom, mom, mom." And I said, "What was that?" And you said, "Oh, that was Michelle."
Yeah,
your wife and not wife at the time, girlfriend at the time, I think.
Yes,
and you said, and she said, "Wow, wow, 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 wow." And I said, "What's she saying?" And she's saying, and you said, Michelle said, "He's got nothing to lose."
Right.
And then you said, huh, I think that's kind of true. Like, why not? What, I mean, and then of course I thought, yeah, I guess I could be a national joke. But
that was the fear the first year.
The fear was the first year was who's the famous national joke.
But I have to say also that like, so then I did hesitate a tiny bit. And I just like, it was like a few hours. I was like, wow, man, I don't know, man, if he can do it. He's never been on TV. And then I just thought to myself, so like, you know, we both love performing. And I got to do a few things on Weekend Update. I did, and Conan was already with The Simpsons. And I just remembered, like, this guy helped me for hours with my stupid Weekend Update feature, The Moron's Perspective. And I'm like, I'm hesitating? It's the fucking asshole. And I called you back and I was like, yeah, I mean, this is my buddy. I never once celebrated. Like, I audition, they think about it, and then they give it to me, and never, I was always scared. And always filled with the sense of responsibility. And here it is now, over 30 years later. Yeah. And I have never once, I don't think I celebrate anything. I mean, I don't, but I just was always like, well, we'll see, we'll see. Exactly. And still now I'm 60 and I'm going, we'll see.
Oh, boy.
We'll see. We'll see how it happens. But I think it was appropriate not to celebrate getting that show because it was not like getting cast in an amazing role. It felt to me in a very Catholic way, like this is a test and you're going to have to walk through hell. And then that's what happened.
That is what happened. But I remember, so then he had that audition, which was incredible. I mean, I guess it was, and then I asked him about it and he said, well, I had nothing to lose. And he was like in front of, I don't know how many people were in that room.
I don't know. Like, it was a tiny. No, like, it was a good size.
Like
I don't know,
100 people. Maybe.
Yeah.
And he interviewed Jason Alexander and Mimi Rogers, and his Mimi Rogers interview was just like professional, hysterical. And then I just turned on a dime. I was like, this guy's going to be enormous. And then he was so funny and hilarious. When we assembled writers, we all got incredibly overconfident.
Yes.
We're like, everybody's going to have a pompadour within 6 months. I really believe this. I was like, everybody's going to want to have long, skinny pants. And I was positive. And so, but
everyone's going to want to have kind of like ambivalent, ambiguous gender.
It was a good
He's kind
thing,
of a
though.
guy, but also just a little bit of a girl.
No, but for he stayed nervous, but the rest of us were so confident. And it was great because it made us try everything. We were fearless. We tried every idea. And obviously some went to shit, but it's still the proudest achievement of my whole career, easily, is how much stuff we did generate.
If you look at the first 2 years, that's the thing that I'm stunned. Well, even if you looked at the first 3 weeks,
there's so much material that you did forever on the late night show.
We did the Clutch Cargo in the year 2000, the actual items. There's so many things but then we kept we never stopped trying to try new things.
Yes.
And I remember people used to who were in the business would say, I mean, I remember even David Letterman saying that's insane. Because we were basically trying to do Saturday Night Live every night.
Yes, which is
impossible. And then finally, you could smell the smoke of like the gears grinding.
Yes,
people going insane. No one's sleeping.
It's funny because like so many. I think I've told you this story. So like in and it was a lot of it stemmed from people on the staff who just didn't believe in us. Some people really believed. You know, like Frank's back there and Paula and. But then, you know, like, so in 1999 or 2009, I visited the Fallon set. And yeah, because back then, when we did it, people were like, it's every night live we're doing over here. And I visited the Fallon set and everybody was like all perky and happy. And they were doing really ambitious shit when he first started in Late Night. They were doing all these detailed film pieces. And literally, a crew member said to me, it's like every night live.